It all began on what was supposed to be just another quirky expedition for the ever-charismatic, eternally sardonic Jeff Goldblum. Part science documentary, part vanity project, part, I just want to see some cool stuff and wax philosophical into the jungle adventure. But as the helicopter blades chopped through the thick, humid air and the mist began to peel away from the hidden coordinates somewhere in the uncharted South Pacific, an eerie stillness fell over the crew, a hush not born of reverence but of awe so thick it gripped their throats. Below them stretched an impossibly lush island, veiled in emerald canopies and choked with mist that shimmered unnaturally in the golden light, and the first glimpse of a sauropod's long neck rising gently through the trees like some ancient cathedral spire shattered the last illusion of normalcy. Jeff, ever the blend of bemusement and brilliance, blinked hard behind his tinted glasses, lips parting in a stammering whisper of life. It finds a way, indeed, even as adrenaline surged and disbelief battled euphoria in his racing mind. The world around him seemed to warp into something prehistoric and mythic, where time unraveled and every breath of air buzzed with the untamed essence of deep evolutionary memory, while behind him, wide-eyed and pale, stood his trusty assistant Lena, a cynical, brilliant cryptozoologist who had long mocked Goldblum's theatrics but now clung to him as the very trees groaned with the weight of creatures that shouldn't exist, her skepticism crumbling beneath the thunderous roar of a distant Tyrannosaurus as she tried to reconcile her cold logic with the surreal spectacle unfolding before her eyes. The jungle was alive in a way no ecosystem on Earth should be, ferns the size of buses, insects with iridescent wings as wide as dinner plates, and birds that clearly weren't birds but feathered echoes of raptors, eyeing them with eerie intelligence from the shadows, and as they set foot onto the loamy soil, their very presence seemed to trigger something ancient and watching, and yet, Jeff, impossibly composed, impossibly curious, strode forward not with fear but with a giddy sense of destiny blooming in his chest, his iconic cadence mixing awe and amusement as he proclaimed, half joking and half prophetic, "Well, if no one else is claiming this miracle of science and madness, then I, Jeff Goldblum, do declare sovereignty in the name of the weird, the wild, and the wonderfully extinct," while Lena muttered that he'd officially lost his mind, but beneath her sarcasm was a glint of wonder and dread, and as vines shifted and unseen things moved in the underbrush, the island seemed to pulse with secrets yet untold, beckoning them deeper into a story written in the blood and bones of giants, a story that had only just begun. As the initial thrill of discovery began to settle into a thick fog of reality, Jeff Goldblum and Lena faced the staggering question of how to navigate an island that seemed plucked straight from the pages of a lost chapter in Earth's history, a place where the rules of nature bent and roared with every breath of prehistoric life. Jeff, with his trademark blend of whimsical curiosity and unshakable resolve, insisted on embracing the bizarre new world with open arms, his mind racing to piece together how this sanctuary of dinosaurs had remained hidden for millennia and what secrets it held about evolution, extinction, and the very nature of existence, while Lena, ever the cautious skeptic, argued for a methodical, scientific approach, determined to catalog, analyze, and survive without becoming lunch for a hungry velociraptor. Together, they began a tentative exploration, their footsteps swallowed by the dense jungle as they mapped out the terrain with a mix of cutting-edge tech and primal instinct. But soon the island revealed its challenges, violent storms that seemed almost sentient, jagged cliffs guarding ancient ruins that whispered of a civilization lost to time, and the omnipresent threat of colossal predators whose eyes gleamed with intelligence and territorial rage, forcing the pair to rethink every assumption about dominance and survival. Just when the tension threatened to snap, they encountered an enigmatic figure, Kai, a mysterious island dweller with deep knowledge of the ecosystem and an uncanny ability to communicate with the dinosaurs, whose allegiance was uncertain but whose presence became a pivotal pivot point in their mission, offering tantalizing clues about the island's history and the strange forces that governed it. Emotionally, Jeff wrestled with the immense weight of his self-imposed kingship, the surreal responsibility of leading this prehistoric kingdom while battling doubts about his own capacity to protect his newfound realm and those he cared about, and Lena grappled with a mounting fear that this place, as wondrous as it was, might be a beautifully dangerous trap that could consume them all. Each step forward plunged them deeper into a web of mystery and menace, where ancient power and modern ambition collided, and the promise of answers shimmered tantalizingly beyond reach, leaving them suspended in a suspenseful dance between discovery and doom, with every heartbeat echoing the primal roar of the island's untamed soul and the unspoken truth that their adventure was only just beginning. No map, no plan, only the wild pulse of a world forgotten by time and a destiny as unpredictable as the creatures that stalked its shadowy depths. As the sun dipped low, casting long, golden shadows over the primeval canopy, Jeff, Lena, and Kai stood on the jagged edge of a cliff overlooking the vast heart of the island, their sanctuary and their battleground, each acutely aware that everything they had endured, every moment of awe, terror, and discovery, had led them to this climactic juncture. The air was thick with anticipation and the faint hum of nature's ancient rhythms, a calm that belied the storm about to break, and as they prepared for the inevitable showdown against the island's true adversary, the colossal, sentient alpha predator known as the Sovereign Rex, a towering tyrannosaur with razor-sharp intelligence and a ruthless instinct for domination, whose strength was matched only by its glaring vulnerability, an exposed neural crest that pulsed with bioluminescent energy, a relic of the island's mysterious evolutionary tampering. Physically, the trio gathered what resources the island offered: improvised weapons forged from obsidian and bone, traps woven from vines and laced with the venom of indigenous reptiles, and technological gadgets salvaged from their downed helicopter, their minds as sharpened as their tools. Emotionally, Jeff channeled his unique blend of eccentric courage and reflective wisdom, rallying Lena's analytical precision and Kai's deep primal connection to the island's rhythms into a focused unity, while battling his own inner turmoil, the burden of kingship pressing heavily on his shoulders as he questioned whether his quirky bravado was enough to save not only himself but this lost world that had somehow chosen him as its protector. Together, they devised a daring strategy to lure the Sovereign Rex into a labyrinth of natural pitfalls and engineered snares, exploiting its pride and territorial fury. But the plan hinged on split-second timing and an unshakable trust in each other's instincts, decisions that would alter the fate of the island and their lives irrevocably. As the twilight deepened into a starlit canvas, they shared a moment of quiet reflection, a brief pause to steel their nerves, confront their fears, and acknowledge the weight of what was to come, knowing that beyond this point lay either triumph or devastation, the delicate balance of survival and extinction hinging on their resolve and unity. The tension was palpable, a taut thread stretched to its limit, every breath pregnant with possibility and peril. And as the distant roar of the Sovereign Rex echoed through the valley below, their eyes met, resolute, determined, alive, and with a final, unspoken vow, they stepped into the encroaching darkness, ready to face the storm that would define them forever. The air exploded with primal fury as Jeff, Lena, and Kai plunged into the heart of the island's most savage battleground, where the Sovereign Rex, a titanic beast whose thunderous footsteps shook the earth and whose razor-toothed maw threatened to rend them asunder, loomed like a living nightmare forged from the echoes of extinction itself. This was no mere clash of flesh and bone but a symphony of desperation and cunning, where every snap of a twig and flash of instinctual brilliance carried the weight of survival for not only the trio but the entire lost kingdom they had vowed to protect. And as they weaved through the dense undergrowth, laying traps with trembling hands and hearts pounding in unison, the psychological toll bore down mercilessly. Jeff's flamboyant bravado faltered under the crushing gravity of responsibility, Lena's steely skepticism cracked with flashes of raw terror, and Kai's mystical bond with the island creatures was tested beyond belief as the very forces of nature seemed to conspire against them. The defining moment erupted when, in the midst of a breathtaking chase through collapsing cliffs and tangled vines, Jeff made the ultimate sacrifice, drawing the beast away from his friends with a daring gambit that fused his theatrical wit with unyielding courage, luring the Sovereign Rex into a labyrinth of their own design, where the beast's glowing neural crest pulsed wildly before finally succumbing to the snares and the combined might of their ingenuity. A shattering victory that came at the heartbreaking cost of Jeff's grievous injury and the irreversible transformation of the island's delicate balance. As silence reclaimed the jungle, the survivors stood amidst the ruins of chaos, forever altered. Jeff, humbled and revered as a true king not by crown but by sacrifice, his spirit intertwined with the island's wild pulse. Lena, her skepticism tempered into a fierce loyalty and wonder for the mysteries that defied explanation. And Kai, a guardian whose faith in the impossible was renewed. The island itself breathed anew, no longer a forgotten relic but a symbol of resilience and the profound, fragile connection between humanity and the natural world, its secrets now guarded by those who dared to dream beyond extinction. Their actions sent ripples across the globe, igniting a fervor for conservation and exploration that challenged old paradigms and inspired new generations to seek harmony with the ancient and the unknown. And as they gazed at the starlit horizon, the story of Jeff Goldblum, the unexpected monarch of a lost dinosaur kingdom, etched itself into legend, a tale of courage, curiosity, and the indomitable spirit of life itself, urging you, dear listener, to subscribe for more extraordinary adventures that dance on the edge of imagination and reality, because the journey has only just begun.